Just 4 months into their blissful marriage, Jon Ruetten came home to a nightmare. His vibrant, successful wife, Sherri, was dead. To the police, it looked like a clumsy burglary gone tragically wrong. The house was a mess, but something was off. Valuables were left behind, yet one single bizarre item was missing: their marriage certificate. This wasn't just a robbery. It was a message, an act of rage, and the first clue in a decades-long hunt for a killer hiding in plain sight. Sherri and Jon were the picture of happiness in Los Angeles. She was a radiant spirit. He was a dedicated engineer. Their life was perfect. On November 14, 1984, Sherri decided to take a day off work to rest at home. That afternoon, Jon returned from work to find his world completely shattered. Sherri had been shot multiple times. The scene was chaotic, but police quickly noticed that gold, jewelry, and other valuables were untouched. They dismissed the stolen marriage certificate as an oddity. They also overlooked a crucial piece of evidence: a bite mark on Sherri's arm, a clear sign of a violent personal struggle. With the limited forensics of the 1980s, the clue was lost, and the case went cold. But one person refused to let it go: Sherri's father, Niels. He was certain this wasn't a random act of violence. He believed it was a targeted attack, an act of jealous revenge. Niels launched his own relentless investigation, channeling his grief into a search for the truth. His amateur detective work soon uncovered a name that should have sent shockwaves through the police department: Stephanie Lazarus, a detective with the very LAPD precinct handling the case. And more chillingly, Jon's obsessive ex-girlfriend. The pieces started to fit together in a horrifying way. Stephanie hadn't just dated Jon. Her behavior had escalated alarmingly after their breakup. She stalked him, made unannounced visits to his home, and even made explicit threats against Sherri. Jon and Niels brought all of this to the LAPD, pleading with them to look into one of their own. Their pleas were ignored. In fact, something even more sinister happened. All records, witness statements, and any mention of Stephanie Lazarus mysteriously vanished from Sherri's case file. It was a cover-up, the system protecting itself. For years, the truth remained buried. The case file, now suspiciously thin, collected dust. Then decades later, it landed on the desk of Lael Meyer, a seasoned cold case detective. He immediately saw the red flags, the glaring omissions, the stolen marriage certificate, and the lack of any real motive for a robbery. Most critically, he uncovered the original forensic report, which confirmed something incredible. The bite mark on Sherri's arm had been left by a woman. With Stephanie Lazarus now squarely in his sights, Meyer tried to reopen the investigation, but his efforts were immediately blocked by his superiors. He was transferred, and the case was shelved once more. The fight for justice seemed lost. But then, in 2005, the case was assigned to a new detective, Jennifer Francis. She saw what Meyer had seen: the tampered file, the missing evidence, and the clear signs of a cover-up. Francis was tenacious. She tracked down the original DNA samples collected from Sherri's autopsy, which had been preserved for decades. The lab confirmed a match for an unidentified female. The next step was clear. She needed a DNA sample from Stephanie Lazarus. By now, Stephanie was a respected veteran detective. When Detective Francis approached her, surrounded by her colleagues, and asked for a voluntary DNA swab, Stephanie haughtily refused. But Francis was not deterred. She got creative. She began to discreetly follow Stephanie, waiting for an opportunity. The moment came when Stephanie stopped at a local fast food restaurant. After she left, Francis moved in and collected the ultimate piece of evidence from the table: the disposable cup Stephanie had just used. The DNA lab rushed the comparison. The result was instantaneous and absolute. The DNA from the cup was a perfect match to the DNA found on the bite mark on Sherri's body. The killer wasn't a random burglar. It was a police detective consumed by a years-long obsession who had used her position to evade justice. In 2009, nearly 25 years after the murder, Stephanie Lazarus was arrested at her desk at LAPD headquarters. In 2012, she was found guilty and sentenced to 27 years to life in prison. Justice, so long denied by corruption and privilege, was finally served. All thanks to the unwavering love of a father who refused to give up, and the tenacity of a new generation of detectives who dared to challenge the system. Thank you for watching this incredible story of persistence and justice. If you found this case as compelling as I did, please hit that like button, subscribe for more true crime stories, and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.